Yeah. Yeah. Good evening, all. So before I start, can anyone please confirm whether my voice is clear, whether my screen is visible or not, right? Yeah. In the last session, just I was saying like defining variables in Python, right? Defining variables. So case one, I was discussing 4 cases, right? Case one. Whenever I define a variable like x as 10, right? Whenever I define a variable like x as 10, internally one object with value 10 going to get created with some address. This address is given to x. So what x stores? X stores the address, right? X stores the address. X stores the address. Print x. Print x means prints the content at that address. Prints the content at that address, right? Then ID of x prints the address of x, right? Prints the address of x. Address of x 103070. Type of x prints the data type of x. Means what value you are assigning, based on that type is going to be decided, right? So print x printing the content address of x, printing the address type of x, prints the data type of x. Print x, print ID of x, and print type of x, prints the data type of x. This case one, printing the content, printing the address, and printing the type, right? Yes. Yeah, case two. Whenever we are defining like x as 10 and y as 20, how many objects going to get created? Yes. For 10, one object with some address. For 20, one object with some address, right? Two objects are going to get created, right? Two objects. Print x. Now everyone try to answer, right? Print x. What is the x value it is going to print? Yes. It goes to that address and prints the content at that address. 10, right? Yes. 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 Print x means print. Print x means 10. Print ID of x, address. If you want to see the address, right? 103070, right? Okay. Type of X. Print the data type of X. Type integer type. Integer, right? Yes. Print Y. Print Y 20. It goes to the address and prints that, right? Print Y. Print address of Y. Type of Y. Integer type, right? Okay. Observe two different variables with two different values. Then two different objects with two different addresses going to be created, right? Two different variables with two different values. Two different variables with two different values, then two different objects getting created with two different addresses. Yes. Print x10, print y20, right? Print address of y, type of y. Okay. Now observe this case 3 now. Case 3. X value as 10. Y is also 10, right? X is 10, Y is 10. Now try to answer like that. How many objects are going to get created here? Everyone try to answer. X is 10, Y is 10. Observe carefully here. Here only one object is going to get created. Here only one object. This address is given to X, and before creating object for Y, right? Before creating object for Y, first it checks any object with value 10 is already available. If available, the same address will be given to Y. The same address is going to be given to that Y. If X is 10, Y is 10, if Z also 10, right? Three objects with value 10 won't be created, but only one value with value 10. This address is given to X, Y, and Z. If X content is 10, Y is 10, Z is 10, only one object. Don't think like three objects with value 10 gets created. Only one object, and its address is given to X, Y, Z. If X is 10, Y is 20, Z is 30, three different objects gets created. But here X, Y, and Z, they are going to share the same content, right? Print X or print Y, print Z. They are going to print the same thing, 10, right? Print ID of X, ID of Y, ID of Z. And the type is going to be integer type for all these three, right? So contents are same, only one object. If contents are different, multiple objects, right? Okay. Now observe this case 4, right? X is 10 and X is 20, right? X value is 10, X value is 20. How many objects getting created? The object with value 10 with some address. The address is given to x equal to 20, one more object, right? If I say print x, what is the x value it is going to print? Yes, try to answer what is the x value it prints. Whether it will print 10 or whether it prints 20 or whether it gives error. Yeah, try to answer it, whether it is going to print 10 or 20 or whether it's going to print both or error. So it always, see for example, your salary last year 50,000, your salary this year, right? 70,000. Print the salary, what it prints? Print salary, what it prints? Latest salary, right? In the same way, when x value was 10 and x is 20, it always prints the latest value, right? What is that value? 20. Prints the latest value 20, right? Yes. Print id of x. One zero three zero seven zero. Type of x. Integer type, right?
Sir, ID should.
Yeah, id should be, sorry, 104090. Sorry. So print x. Print x is 20, its address is this address and type also x, right? Now that's fine. It always prints the address of this latest object, its content, its address, and this type, right? Now my query is, what happens to this previous object? Is it available? Is it not available? If available, can I print its value? What is your answer? What is your answer, right?
It's available, but we cannot access it because we have lost its reference.
So to understand this internally, what happening to this previous object, right? To understand this, just we need to understand a concept called like garbage collector. There is a concept called a garbage collector, but it's too early to discuss that. But just I'll give overview as of now, but later in our concept we'll be discussing in brief about that garbage collector to understand what happened to this object, right? Now I'll go back to this case 3 now and say what is garbage collector. Garbage collector removes unused or unreferred objects, right? Removes unused or unreferred objects from the memory, right? Removes unused or unreferred objects from the memory. What do you mean by unused or unreferred objects? Garbage collector means removes unused or unreferred objects. What do you mean by unused or unreferred objects? Objects whose reference count becomes 0. Objects whose reference count we call them as unused or unreferred objects. Objects whose reference count becomes 0, we call them as unused or unreferred objects. These objects are immediately removed. These objects are immediately removed from the memory. Objects whose reference count becomes a 0, these objects are immediately removed from the memory by the garbage collector. Okay. Whose reference count becomes 0, these objects are immediately removed from the memory by the garbage. You may ask, what is reference count becoming 0? What do you mean by reference count? Number of variables pointing to an object. Number of variables pointing to an object are number of variables storing address of an object. Gives the reference. Observe this, number of variables pointing to an object or number of variables storing address of an object gives the reference. Okay, that's fine. Now, garbage collector means removing unused or unreferred objects from the memory. What do you mean by unused or unreferred objects? Means object whose reference count becomes 0. Those objects are immediately removed from the memory. Means what do you mean by reference count becoming 0? Means number of variables pointing to an object or number of variables storing address of an object gives that reference count. For example, there is an object 10 here, right? There is an object 10 here. What is the reference count of this object 10? How many variables are pointing to it?
Three.
Yeah, 3 variables are pointing, right? Yes, 3 variables are pointing, or 3 variables storing the address of this. So reference count is 3. So reference count of this object 10 is 3. 3 variables are pointing. So x is 10, y is 10, z is 10. Reference count of this object is 3. Slowly, I'll modify the y value to 20. Then an object is created, 20, with some address. The address is given to y. Now y is pointing to the new object 20. Y is pointing to the new object 20. Y is not pointing to this. Y is not pointing to this. What will be the reference count now?
2.
Yes, reference count is 2. I want the sessions to be interactive, so everyone try to please respond whether your answers are correct or wrong. So previously the reference count was 3. Now y is pointing to a different object, so reference count decreases to 2. Slowly, I'll modify the z value also to 30. One more object gets created with some, this address is given to z. Okay. Now z is pointing to this new object. Now z is not pointing to this object 10. Z is not pointing to this. Now what is the reference count now? Yes.
1.
1.
Reference count is going to be 1, right? Only one variable x is pointing now. Previously, 3 variables were pointing x, y, z. Now y and z, they are pointing to different object. Now only x is pointing to this. After some time, slowly I'll modify that x value also to 50, right? Now x is pointing to the new object 50. X is not pointing to this. Now try to say what is the reference count now.
0.
0.
None of the variables are pointing to this object. None of the variables storing the address of this object. Now this object is unused object or unreferred object. This reference count is 0. Whenever any object reference count is 0, immediately garbage collector removes that object from the memory. It's unused or unreferred objects removed from the memory by garbage collector. Understood everyone? Any query in this? Yes. Previously the reference count was 3. Slowly reference count became 0. If reference count became 0, immediately that object gets removed by the garbage collector. Now, based on this observation, right? Based on this observation, later do not worry. I'll be discussing about this garbage collector, all this, right? In brief, with multiple examples later as part of our course. Right. Now, I'll go back to this case 4. Now, just forget about x equal to 20 for a while. Say x equal to 10. What is the reference count of this object 10?
1.
1, right? Yes, only one variable x is pointing. Now, slowly I modified the x value to 20. Now, x is pointing to the new object. Now, x is not pointing to this object 10. What is the reference count now?
0.
0.
0, right? If reference count is 0, then this object is going to get removed by the garbage collector. Now, what is your answer? What happens to the previous object? It will be removed by the garbage collector. Okay. For example, if I'm saying in next x is 20, now if I say x equal to 30, right? What happens to x equal to 20?
It will get removed by garbage collector.
Yes, it gets removed by the garbage collector, right? Yes. These are the 4 cases you need to understand when defining variables. What happens internally, how to print their content, how to print their address, how to print their type, data type, right? Yes. Now I'm going to show you all these 4 cases practically. What we have discussed, I'm going to show you all these 4 cases practically, right? Yes. Now, so in the last session, just I showed you that installation of Python, right? So whenever we install Python, right, just you can scroll down. Okay, go to this Python 3.10. Click this. You can see this ideally, right? Click this ideally. Okay. Whenever we click this ideally, you will get this Python shell gets open, right? Python shell will be open in interactive mode. You want to just interact with it, 3 plus 4, 5 into any valid Python statements, you can type and interact. But I want to work with batch mode, right? File, new file. Yes, file. Okay, now this is file, new file, and we can write your code and execute the code itself. Now this is comment in Python starts with hash symbol, right? Comment start with hash symbol, right? Case 1, defining a variable. X equal to 10. Print x prints the content. Type of x prints the data type of x. As you have assigned integer value, type will be integer type. The address where exactly it is stored, right? Print ID of
ID of X.
Okay, save it. 1 second. So like in the last class, we have created a separate folder for this batch, right? Python 8 p.m. Right here we'll say Python 8 p.m. 9 p.m. right? 9 p.m. Okay. int1.py. Now say run module. Then what type? Integer type and its address. Print x, print 10, its type integer type and its address, right? Yes. Now I'll just copy this. Yes, once again observe this. It is printing this content. Its type is integer type. Content is printing. Type is integer. And this is the address where exactly it is stored, right? Yes. Now next observe this case 2 now. Next case 2. Copy the same font. File, new file, right. Case 2. Defining two different variables. Defining two different variables. With two different values. Then two different objects gets created. Two different objects gets created. Define two different variables with two different values, then two different objects gets created with two different addresses. Okay. X as 10, Y as 20, two different variables like X as 10, Y as 20, print X type of X, ID of X, similarly like print Y type of an ID of 1. Now observe. Print Y, type of Y, ID of Y, right? Now here if you observe 10 and 20, two different variables with two different values. Okay, now can you please answer address of X and address of Y? Is it going to be same or different?
Different.
Different.
Yeah, different because different values, different objects, different addresses, right? Yes, I'm sorry. This. Save it by saying Control S into 2.py, right? Run module. I'm sorry, the addresses are different, right? This is one address, this is another address, two different addresses. Two different values with two different addresses, okay. Case 2. Okay, next case 3. Observe this case 3.
Sir,
Yes, go ahead. Any query?
how are these address values assigned? I mean, these numbers are not sequential.
See, 1 second. You're talking about these addresses, right?
Yeah,
This address means actually
yeah.
where
This is
exactly
68.
this one you're talking. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. This is nothing but address means address physical memory location address. Where exactly this 10 is stored, that memory location address it is going to return.
I understand that, but how are these values assigned? Like 1, 2, 3. It's not in sequence, or the numbers are just random.
Random. The address is allocated randomly, not same.
Okay.
random address. Now observe this. I'm just copying this, right? I'm copying this and observe this case 3. File, new file. Defining two different variables with same values. Two different variables with same values. Then only one object. Then only one object gets created. Two different variables with same values. Then only one object gets created. And its address is returned to both the variables. Two different variables with same values. Only one object gets created and its address is returned to both. X is 10, Y is 10. Now try to answer. The address of X and address of Y, is it going to be the same or different?
Same.
It should be same, right? It must be same. Save it first. Run module, right? Observe this. 10 and 10, right? 10 and 10. So the address is going to be the same, right? Same address. Because if the contents are same, only one object, only one address, right? Okay. This case 3, the address is going to be the same. Same content, same address, same data types. Case 4, you observe. Observe this case 4. Case 4, right? Okay. Defining two variables with same names. Defining two variables, right? Two variables with same name, but with different values. Two variables with same name, but with different values, right? Two variables with same name, but with different values. Then two different objects gets created. Okay. Then two different objects gets created. And the previous one gets removed by the garbage collector, right? And the previous one gets removed. Defining two variables with same name but with different values. Then two different objects gets created and the previous one gets removed, right? Okay. And the previous one gets, okay, fine. X is 10, X is 10, X is 20. Now print X, what is the X value it is going to print? 20.
20.
Type of X, this integer. Address of X, the address of this 20, right? Yes. run module, right? Okay. Print x 20, type of x integer, the address, right? This is the address. Fine. Okay. Now try to answer this. Yes. 20 x equal 20. The previous object x equal 10 gets removed, right? You cannot access its value, right? So understood all these four cases, everyone?
Yes.
Any queries in this? Anyone? Yes, for four cases. Okay, if I go back to this case 3, x is 10, y is 10, y equal to 10.0. If I say x is 10, y is 10.0. Now try to answer, the address of x and y still remains same or different?
Different. It would be different.
So before you answer, say me the type of y. Type of y.
Float. Float.
Type
Y
will
is
be
float.
different. Float orbit created. Here type of x.
Integer.
Integer orbit means two different objects created, right? So 10 and 10, the others are going to be different. Now observe this output. So this is integer object, this is float object. The addresses are different, right? 10 and 10.0 both are not same, right? Both are different. Okay. So these are the four cases defining variables, right? Okay. What happens internally whenever we define some variables? Now coming back to this data types, right? Coming back to this data types. Understood, right? 10 and 10.0. Type of x will be integer. Here type of y will be float type. This address are going to be different. Okay. Now coming back to this data types. Data types are of two types. Fundamental data types and this like collection data types. Fundamental data types and collection data types. Fundamental data types, object holding a single value. What is that? Object holding example like x equal to 10, right? One object getting created with one value 10 with some address, right? The address is given to x. So here object holding single value, object holding collection data type, object holding group of values, right? Object holding example like object holding group of values like x equal to list of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, right? Object holding group of values, set of values, right? Or multiple values. Here also one object getting created, one object gets created internally and they are going to be stored. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. It's going to have some address. The address is given to x, right? Okay. Object holding group of values. What is this? Object holding group of values. Okay, object holding a single value and object holding a group of values, right? Okay. Now, what are the various fundamental data types and what are the various collection data types? Mainly, fundamental data types are of 5 types. Fundamental data types mainly are of 5 types. Integer, float, Boolean, string, complex. Integer, nothing but like age 25. Float means like height 6.4. Something in decimals. Boolean means like true or false. Boolean value. String means something in sequence collection of characters. Like city Hyderabad, right? Sequence collection of characters. Complex data type like what in general mathematics, how to represent a complex number? X plus IY. In Python, instead of I, we say like JY, right? Okay. So we'll be discussing about this fundamental data types, but more discussion on the string indexing, string slicing, string methods, string functions, string special characters, lot of discussion on strings. Collection data types, 4 types. Collections in Python, right? Like list, tuple, set, dictionary. List of values represented by using square bracket, this by using normal braces, set by using curly braces, dictionary by using this key and value. Okay. List of values means like example, x equal to list of 10, 20, 30, right? X equal to couple of values 10, 20, 30, right? Couple of values. Now here example like x equal to set of values 10, 20, 30. Dictionary of key and value, right? Dictionary of key and value. Name Ajay. Age 25 means name as key, Ajay as value. Age key value, right? So key and value representations, name Ajay, key value, age 25, key value, city Hyderabad, key value, right? Key value representation. So these are the various collections. So we have got a lot of discussion on this collection types. List, for example, list properties, list indexing, list slicing, list functions, list methods, list addresses, a nested list modifications, right? Tuples, tuple operations, set dictionaries. More than a week we'll be discussing on this, right? Collection types. Now I'll be discussing about fundamental data types. So just now we have discussed integer 4 cases, right? 4 cases. Now float and boolean. Float data type. X equal to 34.56. You are assigning what? A float value. Print X means 34.56 it prints. Type of X. So type of X is what type? Float type. As you have assigned a float value, type will be float type. Address of X. Address. Where exactly it is stored, right? Okay. Run module, right? Okay. 34.56. What type? Float type. And this is the address, right? You assigned a float value to X. So that's why X type is like float. And this is the address, right? Okay. Okay. Next file. Boolean data type. It takes either true or false. It takes either true or false. It takes either true or false, right? Okay. Okay. X equal to 10 means type of X will be integer. If I say 4.5, type will be float type. If I say true, right, it will be type of X will be Boolean type. Print X. Type of X. Type of X is Boolean. Address. Print address of X. Print X true. Type of X Boolean type. This is the address. Okay, Boolean type, what type? Bool type, and this is the address. Okay. Next is string. A string is a sequence collection of characters. A string is a sequence collection of characters. In Python, one second. In Python, a string is represented. A string is represented, right? Using single quote, double quote, triple quote. Double quote in this manner, and also like triple quote. In string is represented using single, double, and triple quote. Okay. Generally, for a single line string, we go with single line string, right? We go with single or double. For multi-line strings, we go for triple quote. Each character of a string, each character of a string is represented. Each character of a string is represented or accessed by a unique index. Each character of a string is represented or accessed by a unique index. String supports two types of indexes. String supports two types of indexes. Forward index or positive index. Starts from left to right. Starts with 0. Just I'll give you some examples on this. Fine. String supports two types of indexes. Forward index or positive. Starts from left to right. Starts with 0. Backward index or negative index. Starts from right to left. Starts with -1, right? Okay. String supports two types of indexes. Forward index or positive. Starts from left to right. Starts with 0. Backward index or negative index starts from right to left. Starts with -1, right? Okay. Observe this. X equal to Python, right? I'm taking a string within double quotes. Internally, one object gets created within this, right? Python is going to have some address. The address is given to X. Yes, see this forward index or positive index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from left to right. Positive index, forward index or positive index. And this one -1, -2, -3, -4, -5 and -6. Backward index or negative index. Forward index are positive and this backward index are negative index, right? So what is the value of x of 2 value? What is value of x of 2? Try to answer everything. X of 2 is what?
T.
T, right? Yes. What is the value of x of -3?
H.
H, right? So if you want to access a particular character, right? You can go with this indexing, negative or positive, right? So either positive or negative index. So you may ask, already we have got a positive index, why again negative index? Means if you have got a very big string of 70 to 80 characters, if you want to print the last character, just to say x of -1, it prints the last character, but using positive index, it's time taking, right? Yeah, forward index, backward index, both can be used. Mostly forward index will be using. Backward index, if you got a very big string, if you want the last character, last but one character. See, for example, if you have got a 50, 60 characters in a string. Okay, print the last character using positive index. Try to say
X of 5.
x of
5.
using positive index. Try to access, try to print the last character. Not here, not in this case. If I got some 50 to 60 characters. Now print the last character means using positive index, it will be difficult, right? Go for negative. X of -1 gives the last character value. So both can be used accordingly. Fine, for accessing that. Fine. Understood, right? Okay. So a lot of discussion on string, right? Tomorrow and day after tomorrow also I'll be discussing like string indexing, slicing, string methods, string functions, string special characters. Lot of discussion on the string handling, right? Fine. Any queries, right? As part of today's session, what we have discussed, like how to define variables, and I was just showing you practically what happens internally, how to print their content, their address, their types, and fundamental and collection types. So we are going to discuss those. So tomorrow also you can attend the session, same time, same link. More on this Python, like the Python string handling, what are the various methods, right? One by one method I'm going to discuss in brief. We don't need to write huge codings. We have got many methods and functions available for strings. Without writing code, we can just perform those operations, right? Fine. Any other queries?
Sir, is it the first lecture of the batch? Or
Yeah,
like I joined from today, na? So I was not knowing that when it has started.
so have you understood that today's discussion?
Yes.
Yeah. So to technical, that is what technical concepts we have discussed today, but the only introductory sessions we had previously, right? That videos you'll be getting it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm stopping here and we'll continue tomorrow with more on this string handling, right? Okay.
Sir, are you going to provide some notes for preparation?
Yeah. Notes will be forwarded to you. Yes, sir. So
Okay.
the notes I'll be forwarding to your mail IDs. So once these things are completed, once this process is completed, right? So in a daily basis, every alternate days you'll be getting the notes, right?
Yes.
And videos also every day video you'll be getting, right? To the link drive you are going to get, Google Drive link. In that every day video gets added.
One
Okay.
question, please. How
Yes.
many days a week is the lesson?
Pardon, how many days?
A week, yes.
So this you are talking about that what is that duration of this course?
No, per week. How many days? Is it 6 days or 5 days a week?
No, Monday to Friday. It is like Monday to Friday.
Or 1 hour per day. Okay.
1 hour per day, right? So even at that last, like when we are discussing about the advanced concepts, right? If you feel that if you want, I can take some Saturdays. I'll be pre-intimating if I take Saturdays, right?
Okay.
Fine. But
Sir, one question. I want to learn web scraping. So apart from Python, what other skills should I learn so that I can do web scraping?
web scraping means you need to have some HTML knowledge.
Okay.
Python modules concept and HTML, right? These two things.
So those things will be included in your session, or any extra course should I go for?
No, HTML knowledge if you have got, and this Python knowledge, both is enough.
Okay. Thank you.
So any other
Sir,
things? Yeah, go ahead.
I have joined this course because I want to become backend developer who would be working on Flask or Django. So how much part of Flask or Django you will be covering in this course? And what would be the detail level you are going in this course?
So 1 second. I'm just taking nearly 80 to 100 hours, right? For this
Yes.
Python core and advanced programming. Total command you will be getting on this Python, writing Python scripts or Python programs. Okay, later for interactive web applications creations, right? So using Django framework with MBT architecture model view template. So I'll be showing you like uh, nearly like 25 to 30 applications creations. 25 to 30 applications creations in the Django framework. The Django framework will be separate, right? Not included in this 80 to 100 hours this course. So that web applications creations using Django framework, like nearly I'll be taking like 45 to 50 hours, right? So where you people will be developing web application parallelly along with me. Simultaneously, that there is first application, second application, third application, hands-on like step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, the applications creations. So it's not like just listening to the sessions, it won't work, but web applications creations, you'll be doing parallel along with me. That is what it's separate, like the Django framework is separate.
Okay.
Okay, fine. Yeah, and some more queries asked, right? Yeah, at the end I'll be discussing one, right? Yes, Satya Prakash, right? So, okay, I'm running out of time. So if you've got any more queries, you can ask me up in the tomorrow session also. So I'm stopping here for today. Meet you tomorrow, same time, same link, right? Thank you.